No, Upanayanam. Upanayanam, what does it mean and what is its place in someone's life, this process of Upanayanam?
Upanayanam means, Upa means sub or secondary, and Nayanam means eyes. So Upanayanam means secondary eyes. You have these eyes, primary eyes, which are seen, but secondary eyes which help you, explore this uh, cosmos or whatever, life or whatever. Those eyes which help us explore all that is called Upanayanam. And it is a process where the Gayatri Mantra is initiated to you. So Gayatri Mantra has again various interpretations what it means. So Ga means knowledge also. Ya means this, and three means three. So Gayatri Mantra means that which gives you three types of knowledge. The mm, the physical knowledge, the mental knowledge, and the cosmic knowledge, the Brahman knowledge. So it exposes you. Once you are initiated there, Upnayanam is your process of initiation to start your journey of exploration of not only the physical existence but the metaphysical also existence. So it's a very beautiful process. In ancient times, at the age of 7, children would go minimum age of 7. Later also, but minimum age of 7.
So you had your Upanayanam when you were a small child?
No, I had it when I was in the ashram. I think I was 24 or 25. My parents somehow did not do it that time. But Gurudev said, "Have you done that?" And I said, "No, not yet, Gurudev." So he said, "Do it." And then I told my parents. He said, "Yeah, yeah." Till my grandfather, everyone did it, and my parents also missed out on it, and then my father also missed out on this. So my father was given the Gayatri Mantra first on that day, and then he gave it to me because it comes from father to child.
Yeah, so even I did not do my Upanayanam when I was a kid. I did it in in Boone. I think you were part of that process also. So what has happened? So in modern day society, people have stopped like valuing this process that is so, like you say, having a secondary set of eyes to look at the bigger picture rather than just getting stuck in the mundane. It is such an amazing process. So why do you think that people have just like not continued it? And how can we get it back?
No,
The main question is how can we get it back?
no, there's a history to it. It's not like this. If you go back 300, 400 years ago, Aurangzeb had given an order that every day he wants 1 man, ek man. 1 man is 40 kilos. So 1 man Janayu he wants every day. So those many Hindus either should be killed or they should be converted. So a lot of Hindus, to avoid all that, they stopped wearing it. And then the Muslim ruled, the Mughal rule was taken over by the British rule. The British rule had its own challenges. And then when India became independent, the new Indian government did not support Indian values in a way they should or could have. So that was also there, and it required a person like Gurudev to, rejuvenate and increase all these things.
Yeah, and he also, I think, I don't remember where I heard him say, he said even women were initiated into the Gayatri, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, to restart this whole process, I remember he took almost 4 or 5 years. He took his uh, the approvals of so many saints across India. Every time he would meet a saint, he would ask them, "Do you find any scriptural references why women should not be given the uh, Gayatri Mantra or Janayu?" And a saint after saint after saint, and Vedic scholars after Vedic scholars, they said, "No, we have never come across a scripture which says that this should not be done." So after 4 5 years of consultation and approval and all that, then he started.
And it's so beautiful when I was initiated, Madhuri was there with me, so we were initiated together. It was a only after so when we were going through the process, it was just like procedural, because first time you're doing Agni Karya, you have to figure out ki those sticks have to be in a certain pyramid so that the air flows and all the chemical engineering stuff was coming in, and all that.
Mhm.
Now it has become second nature, and now you I can feel it. So when Madhuri does, I don't do. Okay, in interest of full disclosure, I don't do my Sandhya Vandan every day, but Madhuri does. And when she doing it in the home, it feels so amazing. The whole atmosphere cleanses out. It's so beautiful. I'm thinking, I mean, we have to take this like bring it back to mainstream somehow.
Yeah, it is happening. See, Guruji's methods are very beautiful. What I, if I put a, like as chemical engineers and as IITians, we have to always create a model of whatever is happening, to explain whatever is happening. So my model of understanding how Gurudev works is like a matchstick is good enough to burn all the wood in a fire, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
If it is burnt in a particular way, otherwise the same matchstick cannot do anything,
yeah. Right.
isn't it? And Gurudev is taking that method, from small, one wood catches fire, then the next one catches fire, and the bigger ones catch, the smaller ones catch first, then the bigger ones catch, the closer ones catch fire first, then the further one. So that is how it is slowly spreading. And the way I have seen how this organization has evolved over the last 27 years, hmm, you cannot recognize it. So it's the same thing with other things also. Eventually, it is going to become mainstream, hmm, automatically.
This will be the last question. So can you tell us more about what happens in the Navratri homas? Because there's so many things happening. There's fire, there's water, there is chanting, and there is some guy who's carrying the water and it's really heavy and all this stuff. So what is going on?
So I will talk to you engineering, uh, or science. There are magnetic substances. Hmm. So magnetic substances by themselves don't attract. They have to be oriented in a certain way to induce the north pole and the south pole, and then that is what happens. Then that magnet becomes magnetic energy, and then we can use it for various things. So in the same way, there are lots of energies in space which are like that magnetic substance. They cannot be used, they cannot be harnessed. Or wind which is blowing, only with a windmill it can be harnessed and that energy can be used. So there are a lot of subtle energies, and through mantras, Hmm. through mantras from space, we bring them into the air. The most subtle is the space, then we bring them into the air element. And from the air, the next gross is fire. So we bring it into the fire element, and all the offerings and everything is done there. And that energy from the fire is brought into water. The kalashas which are kept in front of the fire, there. And from there, it is brought to earth, the abhishekam which happens and all those things. So that is the earth element. So that energy which was all over the place and it had no direction, which could not be used or harnessed, it through the various mantras and procedures are brought to the more gross and more gross and more gross to the earth element where it can be used. So those mantras are those special mantras, and different mantras perform different functions and bring them there. Then these herbs, the herbs which are used as offerings there, these are all Ayurvedic herbs. And when you put in, it's very obvious, no? If you put herbs in fire, they will burn and they will burn and they will vaporize. So all the active ingredients of the herbs will be in the atmosphere, isn't it? And when
Yeah.
you breathe that, you feel better. So it's only purifying the atmosphere. The vapors are there for some time, for few days to few months, depending on the scale you have performed the yagya. So that is one thing, So you're also absorbing those vapors without knowing it. All that smoke and all that has got a potent mix of good herbs and vapors, And the third thing is the mantras also affect the body and the mind directly also. No? Now, sound has an effect on body and mind. If you listen to some very good music or you listen to rock music, then you start rocking. No? That is why it is called rock music, isn't it? So the music has an effect. In the same way, you listen to some dull and boring music, you can even fall off to sleep. So different types of music has effect on you. In the same way, different sounds also can affect the body and mind. And mantras are those specialized sounds which affect your body and mind in a different way. They make you more subtle. They detoxify you. They free you from all your vices, mental and physical vices, and many good things. So these are the various things which happen in a yagya, and many more. This what we can cognize, and there are many things which we still can't cognize.
So explain to me the whole thing about sankalpa, and when you take a sankalpa, you're brought to the front of the room versus it doesn't matter where in the room you are really.
It really doesn't matter where you are in the room, but in fact where you are in the world also, it really doesn't matter. So a modern day example I will give you is, suppose a cricket match is happening. If you're watching it on television, it is next to free. You don't have to do anything, isn't it?
You just have to pay the cable subscription. That's it.
Yeah. If you buy a ticket, you get little more privileges of seeing it little live, isn't it? And if you buy a sponsorship, then you get a sponsorship cabin and all the facilities and everything is there. So depending on what you would like to do, and each one is contributing to that game in a particular way, which is keeping that game alive. And because of that, that game is also giving something in return for everyone.
No, that's a great example. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So your sankalpa is your contribution to whatever is happening. And no matter what, it's the same cricket match.
Yeah, right.
It is the same cricket match, but yet you get privileges.
Yeah.
Life is same. Every blessings will be the same for everyone. Everything will be same. But in that also, it's like you get food in a silver plate vis-a-vis an earthen plate or a golden plate. But the food is the same.
It depends on whether it's coming from H5 mess or coming from somewhere else.
Yeah. H5 mess will not be on a silver plate.
Right. No, so this is so great because I had heard this before that, the yagya blessings are the same no matter where you are. So I said, I have to, left brain. You said, ki, I'm going to experience it for myself. So what happened? I went to Navratri 1 year and then I went through the whole thing, sat down, did Sankalpa, everything. I did the whole thing. Then the next year I couldn't go. So I told Madhuri, we will subscribe to the e-webcast. And then we got up at the right time zone because, it's early in the morning for us when it's in India like this. And we got up in the right time zone. We sat in front of the TV. It was all streaming to the TV with HDMI, all that. And the experience was exactly the same. And it's exactly what you said. It does not matter where you are. It's how much you look at it, with how you look at it. And it was beautiful. It was really good.
Yes.
Prashant, this has been really awesome. I mean, I wish we could have done this, without a virus inducing this to happen. We could have totally done this like 2 years ago, but we totally did not. But I'm thinking, if you don't mind, maybe we can get these sessions going more than once. I don't want to do it just one off because you have so many more.
Yeah. Most welcome. I'm open to more discussions also.
And I'm thinking we'll do a CAC session, we'll get Kashi, we'll get all these Janta in one, and then we'll just do like a IIT Hangout CAC session. That will be fun.
Yes. Most welcome. It was wonderful talking to you. And for me also, it was a learning experience because so many things, also those things which were in air like that, got channelized into an answer.
No, it's great. So yeah. So thank you for, sparing. I know you're quite busy guy. You have lots of programs lined out. So to take out for you 1 hour, 1.5 hours like that, it's a big deal. So I really appreciate it.